Welcome to Pursuing the Martial Arts. We've got a special program today. Last year we covered the American Karate System Summer Camp. We're going to do it again this year. We'll have two programs out of this. And with me today, and actually I'm teaching a class, so Mike Sullinger is going to MC this program. And Mike, you came up from where? Texas? Where?
Harlingen, Texas, just a little bit north of Brownsville.
Okay, so, and you've been coming up every summer for these. You're the...
Pretty much for probably a decade or better since I retired from the military.
Mike is the chief instructor for the American Karate System and been with the style for...
Since 1973, when we first founded the style in conjunction with the founder, Mr. Ernest Lieb.
So ever since Sensei Lieb passed away, Mike has been in charge of the program. He's a 9th degree black belt, very capable. He's going to narrate what we're doing in the different programs today. I'm just pleased to have you here, Mike. We also have some people from Germany came over, West Virginia,
Ohio, some different areas from here in Muskegon and Michigan area as well.
Got a good crowd. This is held every summer. It's been held at North Muskegon High School Gym. We're grateful that they let us use the gym. Stay with the program. I'm sure you're going to enjoy Mike. I'm going to be busy, but he'll be over watching a little bit of what I do too. Thank you.
We had an opportunity to visit a little bit. He introduced me, so I'm going to introduce him. You know, Tom Twining, who's a 7th degree black belt with the American Cheetah. He's been around the area here for many years. We won't tell you on his age.
Yeah,
so you don't know
everybody thinks I'm 29, so telling him I've been here 40 years doesn't...
That's not going to help. But explain to the audience exactly what it is that you're teaching these students today.
Okay, what we're doing is taking advantage of an opponent's weight. If you're a small person, a large person, small people can't hit necessarily as hard. They don't have much strength behind it. But if we let the opponent commit their weight to the punch as they come in, we've got all their weight behind it. So we can use their strength against them. We let them cover the distance. I don't have to have footwork to get in. It's a defensive thing, and karate, as we teach it as a sport, we practice a lot of offense, but in self-defense, an opponent attacks and we counter. It's a defensive art. So we let the opponent come at us and hit them when they come in. We're carrying our guard high, so we force them in a circular route, which takes them more time and it's easier to block. And as they step in, we just take a little step to put our weight behind the punch.
So this follows in line with the Sensei Funakoshi's idea of there is no first strike in karate. And of course, Funakoshi is the father of modern day Japanese karate. Correct. And one of his precepts was that there's no first strike in karate because it was considered to be a defensive art, not something people were intended to go out and use against others, only to defense of themselves and then in defense of those who were not able to defend themselves because of weakness or disabilities and things. So how are your students doing with this so far?
They've got it down. We're ready to move on to the next drill. Keep your hands in center. If you bring your hands apart, you leave the opponent with going around, going forward. He can come from a lot of angles. I'm closing off one angle of attack by keeping my hands right between my nose and my opponent's nose. Not necessarily right here, but they're in front of me. To throw a straight punch at her, I know I'm going to hit her arms, I have to come around. It's real easy now, if I come around, for her to just raise that hand a little bit. I've done two things. The quickest punch is a straight punch because it goes the shortest distance. And a straight punch is hard to block because if I block too soon, you're going to throw the punch. But if I block too soon as that punch comes out, I get hit. If I block too late, I get hit. I have to time it when it's somewhere between here and here. You don't move. But when they throw a punch, I got to block. You don't move.
Don't move. You should say that.
Between here and here, I got to block it. And somebody's punching out there with some speed. My timing isn't perfect. I get hit. So I'll force my opponent, carry my guard center. She can't hit me straight. She's got to go around the arm. So when she comes around the arm, I just have to have my hand up there. She's got a hook around her. She's going to throw a hook punch at my head, and I just got to have it up there before she gets it. Now I'm going to put my hand up here, and we're talking a little while. I'm going to come back next year at summer camp. I'm going to have my hand up here, and she's going to throw a hook punch. You go ahead and throw a hook punch, I block it. All I got to do is get there first. My timing isn't real critical as compared to blocking a straight punch. So carry my guard center, I make her throw straight or hook punches at my head. Now for practice, we're going to force them in the bigger punches. So I'm going to punch at you. Get your guard center. I'm going to come around here, you're going to block. I come around the other side, you're going to block. Now, she's not in any danger if I swing like this, is she? I have to step in to hit her. If, when she blocks, she straightens this hand out. I don't know if you've ever done it, I did it once. Those crank out stupid Anderson windows that go out. And I'm running, wham! It did not hit me at all. It just stood there, and I hit it. So she's got her guard up. I come charging in to punch, and she just sticks her hand out there, and I've thrown my 200 plus pounds on the end of her fist. So we're going to do this. I want you out of range. I'm going to step first on one side. I'm making exaggerated. You throw it out, and if you want to land on the chest, or if you're working with a girl, you can punch them in the head instead. I'm serious. Go to the forehead if you don't want to. We get uncomfortable doing that, but you don't have to hit them. But rather than the jaw. Then the next time I'll do it on the other side. And you'll block here and punch. Just bring it up. Okay? Back and center. Here, hit. Back and center.
As you've been watching this training with Mr. Thomas here, one of the things I asked him was he teaching here something that's similar to Bruce Lee's way of the intercepting fist? And he made a comment that's important to understand, that though there are a lot of different martial arts, we have Chinese martial arts and various styles within Chinese martial arts, Okinawan, Japanese, Korean. Even though there are different styles or ways of doing things, the end result from any of them is always the ability to defend ourselves, the ability to deflect another person's attack and use it against them in one way or the other. In the example that we're using here with Mr. Thomas, where he's deflecting their attack, but at the same time they're running into his fist because their momentum is coming forward. One of the key precepts or ideas that we try to incorporate into martial arts is not fighting force with force, but using the other person's movement, momentum, strength against them, and doing it in a way that is advantageous to us as the defender.
If it was self-defense situation, our hands are open and facing out. That's a non-threatening position saying, I don't want to fight. We close our fists, we challenge the person who may have only wanted to show that they're tough, and now we embarrass in front of people by challenging them and force them to have to take a swing at us. But in self-defense, it's the same posture. Hands are up, our feet are apart, we're in a good guard. Our hands are between us and the opponent, not looking between our hands. We force them to come in with a strike. We're going to do this closed hand. She's going to come in with a punch, a hook punch. You're going to hook around, just do a nice big hook punch. We're going to hit, and we're going to follow through with the other hand, hit, and then kick into the knee, off the rear.
As you see them going through these different exercises, try to maintain in your perspective that initially they have to defend against an attack. They must then debilitate or cause that other individual some discomfort or something other that they can take control of the situation and render that person so they are no longer a threat to them. In a self-defense situation, we want to make sure that we're defending ourselves to the point to where that individual is no longer a threat. If in the eyes of the law we continue to be the aggressor after that, then we become guilty or culpable in the eyes of the law. So the defensive portions stop the minute the other person ceases to be a threat to us.
It works either way. If I throw the punch with my last punch with my rear hand, I'm reaching, twisting my body, and I'm stretching a rubber band that now snaps into a kick. If I end up with a front hand, I'm just going to continue to use that twisting motion. 1, 2, 3. I'm going back and forth. It's just like you bring one hand back when you punch, or as Mr. Sullinger likes to say, action, reaction. 1, 2, kick. You're going back and forth, getting that hip motion. Either way, you can get power in whether it's coming off the front hand and kick, or if it's coming off the rear hand and kick. Either way. Now we're going to do something a little different. I like to change it up because I make mistakes. I want all my mistakes to be a right technique. So we're going to go against a straight punch now. We're carrying our guard a little wider. Our face is wide open. And what we're going to do then, she comes in, is we're going to block across. We can block this way and it'll work. My preference is to block this way, turning your shoulder so that next punch is harder to get out. You throw a double punch. Let's come in 1, 2. Double punch. Okay, do it again.
Is that what you mean?
Okay. No, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Okay, when I block inside here, she throws a punch. That just turns her into the next punch. When I block this way, she may hit her hand or turn her shoulder a little bit. It makes it harder for that punch to come out. When I have a choice, whether it's a kick or a punch, I always like to block across my body. Doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. Doesn't mean that the other's not effective. But this, I like that better. So we're going to block. Our hands are apart. We're tempting our opponent now. We're doing stupid. We got our guard here. She throws a straight punch up the center. We block here. She throws the other hand. We block here. Now, we're going to combine that. She punch. No, one punch.
One punch.
One punch. Here. Back. Punch. We're going to alternate sides. We need to communicate more. I need to communicate.
sorry.
You're punching here. We're going to block and hit. Our guard's coming across. Punch again. Block and hit. Now, a block is when I move her hand from here down to the way. We're not really blocking. We're from here. The punch is coming here. I'm going here and getting my head out of the way. I don't have to be strong. I don't have to move her arm at all. I just got to get, I don't even need to deflect it. I just need to, when I go here, have a hand up so you don't come back and smack me. I just have to have my hand up here and hit. So we'll do this. Come in and punch, block and hit, and then back to guard. Other side.